Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Friday, April 24th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith will be here in a moment. We got David back with us as he is on Fridays, and happy to bring back on the show former NHL and pro hockey player Rob Schremp. We've done, I think, a couple of shows in the past with Rob. Great to have him back. Rob, how are you, my friend? Things good? Good to have you back.
Things are good, buddy. Yeah, thanks for having me back on the show. It's good to get back on. I think it was a year ago we did it in the playoffs, So it's our 1 year anniversary. It's good to be back and talk some puck.
Yeah, no doubt. Just a quick little life update, because I've seen some of your social medias. You're doing little hockey charity events and tournaments. You're doing some golfing stuff. I know you did a little media education session the last time I think we talked, experimenting with media. How's things in life?
Things have been good. Yeah, so I've been doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So I'm in the at the moment, I'm in the process of making a movie. It's an indie film and Hollywood feature film. So doing that, getting the funds together and ready to start shooting pretty soon. So that's exciting. We got some, we already have one guy locked up for us to play my character. And then we have a few other actors that we're going after. So it's a fun process. That's been a lot of fun. And then also I've been doing private equity with a family office company called Pike PG. I'm the head of business development for them. So it's a lot been going on, and I've been moving and shaking and enjoying what I'm doing.
I got to ask, because this movie idea, concept here sounds pretty cool. Alex here, good to see you. Do you want this person to replicate this character that's supposed to be a variation of you, to be pretty dead close to what you're like, or is just you can be just a little bit of a somewhat like you?
Well, it's my story. So the movie's about my story and my journey from Fulton, New York up to the pros and getting drafted in the NHL. So we'll see where the script shakes out as far as when we stop it, but it's somewhere in the 19 age range. So somebody that has the ability to do the chops and be creative with the puck and also be skilled, so to speak. So when we insert them into those scenes, they can pull it off. Found a perfect person. So it's a kid I've had a relationship with for a while. I've known him for a long time. And I think it's going to be a great fit. And I think it's going to, come out really great.
Awesome. We wish you luck with it and success with that movie. Sounds awesome. And I'm going to try to watch it when it.
You better, Cams. You better.
We will, no doubt. You got a great story too, so hopefully it catches on with people that love hockey and love the game. As far as last night, we loved the game. We loved the games last night. We've loved the playoffs. We're a bit surprised, though, I think, that we're at 3-0 in so many of these series, because the games have been really good. They've been close. They've been competitive. And that's kind of the weird thing about when a series gets to 3-0. People that haven't been watching might assume, oh, it's 3-0 in the series. It's got to be lopsided. It can't be fun to watch. Well, the games have all still been close, for the most part. Ottawa, Carolina is a perfect example of that. It's 3-0 Carolina, but every game's been pretty tight, pretty competitive. And last night, the Carolina Hurricanes get the job done. For a team down 2-0 at home, in a near must-win spot. Didn't love the start for Ottawa, quite honestly, in that first period. Carolina got on the board. And just when they're about to maybe get an opportunity with that 5-on-3 in the second, about as bad a 5-on-3 power play as you could see. And you give Carolina's penalty killers credit, but barely able to gain zone entry, barely able to make passes, to get something going for Ottawa on that 5-on-3. So that was frustrating. Now, they did get the 1-1 goal to tie it, but then here comes Jackson Blake and a line that has absolutely killed the Ottawa Senators in this series. Stankoven, all in Blake. It's been spectacular. The way they're playing for this Carolina team. Logan Stankoven, by the way, not only goals in all 3 games, he scored the first goal of the game in all 3 games. So if you bet first goal for Logan Stankoven in all 3 games, you're up a pretty penny just based on that. And I've only had the goal props for Logan in these games, but if you had the first goal, oh my goodness, you're certainly going to get a nice little chunk of change from that. But then when they got up, obviously, in the third, it was a clinical defensive effort. Didn't give Ottawa much. Frederik Andersen, despite my concerns about starting him after the double overtime game for an older goalie, he was rock steady. And Carolina up 3-0 in the series, Alex. And Jake Sanderson injured again. Just as bad for that collision there with Taylor Hall that I know pissed off Ottawa fans, and Travis Green was upset, saying Hall should have got something more for that, saying, Sanderson's out because of this. He was not a happy coach in the post game over that Hall hit on Sanderson. And Sanderson's already been ruled out for what is now a must-win game, facing elimination for the Ottawa Senators on Saturday. In 2 words, Alex, not good if you're an Ottawa fan.
Yeah, not good at all. But we kind of, foreshadowed this, at least as far as the wild card teams going in the East. We said the way that they were playing, in late February after the Olympic break and all of March and this condensed schedule, that those 2 teams that would be at the bottom might be, kind of fighting for it. And that's what it seems like with Ottawa. It seems like they're just kind of running out of steam. Guys getting hurt. He said blue line core has been beaten up for over a month now, and it's just kind of coming all to a halt at this point. And then you've got a good Carolina team. We talk about how well they do in the first rounds of the playoffs. They smelled the blood. And certainly now at this point, with a 3-0 series lead, it's just a matter of when, not if, they move advance to the next round.
Sure seems that way. Rob, we'll get your thoughts, and not only your thoughts on that game last night, but someone in the chat, USS 636. Haven't seen you since you were a kid back in the day in Fulton, New York. So there you go. A little connection there, Rob, with one of our chat people.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, so on the series, it's been interesting. It's been Carolina just is such a machine. The way they play the game, the way they buzz around the offensive zone, and they change sides, and they really wear teams down. They're super conditioned, I think is what it is, because they all are buzzing. They're all the pace is always up with them, and then when it gets in the D zone, they're really good at stymieing it. Like they don't give you much. It's a very frustrating team to play against. So they have been close, and it's like, we already touched on it. The 5-on-3 is so pivotal. Like, you don't get them all the time. It's captain obvious to say, but that's gotta be a dominant moment where you swing momentum. It's not just about getting a goal. It's also about like bagging those 3 guys that are out there.
2-3 shots, 2-3 quality chances at least. And they didn't even come close to that, Ottawa. Yeah.
And 100%. Bagging the goalie too, right? Like that's your moment to bag the goalie by moving the puck around and having those shots coming at him. So there's always these things in playoff series, like, 5 minutes, like you see, let's say the Boston Bruins. I know I'm switching series, but like Boston Bruins in game 1, or was it game 1 or 2? I forget which one it was, but they played a great game. They lapsed for 5 minutes and that cost them. But it's, playoffs are so, you got to be dialed in 60 minutes and sometimes even more minutes. So I don't know. That series is interesting. I'm not surprised though, per se, not to shit on the Senators, but I just, I know at Carolina, I watch a lot of them, and the way that they play, they're such a playoff team. They're just, again, a fine oiled machine, so to speak.
They are, and they play a really good system, and it works. And Rod Brindamore's implemented it, and it's a lot of the same core, especially on the blue line, like Chatfield and Slavin. And these are guys that have been there a long time. They know what they're doing at that end of the ice. They've got good chemistry up front. I like that Cook and Yemi's nowhere to be found now.
Shawfield, I like Shawfield too.
Yeah.
On D, Shawfield's a good number 5. He's a good, like, gritty player and has a lot of different kind of capabilities, and he's a very diverse defenseman. Yeah. I like him a lot. And Stankov, and I tweeted out the other day, he reminds me of like a Sergei Samsonov. He's got that same kind of bow-legged stride, and
water bug. That's what I always thought of Samsonov. Yeah.
Almost like a little hunchback, but they're always buzzing. They're always causing shit. And Blake has been unreal. Like, he's been every single shift. He's threatening, doing a great job attacking the net. So there's a lot of great pieces there. And I think, like, for the Carolina Hurricanes, like, great example of their team is their leader in the sense of who drives the boat, which is Aho. And Aho is this, like, Finnish guy that works his ass off, but has high level skill at the same time. But first he works his ass off. Yeah. And that's the kind of, like, poster of their team, right? And then once he does it, it trickles down, and it's a great domino effect. And again, Rod Brindamore is an unbelievable coach. It's been well documented. So it's guys buying in, guys love him. He's so passionate, and they're willing to go through a wall for him. And that's a tough team to come up against in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And we thought Ottawa was going to. And Ottawa actually has given them a tough series, even though it's 3-0. But Carolina's found a way to be on the winning side of it here in the first 3 games. And like I said, if you look at it for Carolina, let's say they get past Ottawa, you're going to get, the next round. You're going to get either a Philly or Pittsburgh. Probably Philly. You probably should win that series. You're at least going to the conference finals. And and there's no Florida in your way this year. Like, there is a clear, distinct path.
There's a different Florida. There's a different Florida in the way this year.
Yes,
there is a Florida. It's just not the Panthers.
That's right. Yeah, just not the Florida Panthers. Exactly. All right, David, this is the moment you've been waiting for. I know, your Friday appearance. I know the singular moment on today's show that you were going to be most excited about was talking about a big time Carolina Game 3 win. So have at it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. I mean, your top line, you don't even have to rely on the top line. You're killing them with the 2, the 3, the 4. Everybody's getting a chance to dominate the game. I mean, it's just fantastic. Jarvis looks like has never played hockey before. This is the worst I've ever seen Jarvis play, and we're still just dominating these games. I mean, we created the Sens' best chance last night for them with the batting the puck back into the zone. That's the only chance that they really created.
Yeah.
All of the defensive lines, all of them are just absolutely in the Senators' heads. I mean, everybody's just every single shift grinding, and the Sens can't create anything. I mean, we saw even in the overtime, the one off the post, everybody is just playing insanely hard. The one that hit the post on the backhand, I don't remember who it was because I was at the game, but even on that one, Jankowski's tracking back and getting a stick to break that one up. I mean, everybody's just playing incredibly hard, and it's fun to win the close games this time compared to winning or losing those close games and like double overtime against the Panthers for so many years and being in the building for those. But it's nice being on the other side of the we didn't really get swept kind of thing. So it's been really fun to watch these games, and I think this is the best team that we've ever had, to be honest. All of the lines are just clicking. I think the sneaky biggest addition is Taylor Hall. Stankoven obviously scoring the goals, but all the play is driven by Taylor Hall keeping these pucks in and getting a lot of really good feeds to Stankoven, like last night where he recovered the puck like 3 times in one possession. So yeah, really fun to watch. It's nice to see Anderson, of course, look really locked in. Positioning's great. Reactions, he was looking pretty slow for most of the season, but coming into the playoffs, he looks like he's back to. I mean, he showed us in the playoffs for the last 5 years, 6 years that he's been a great playoff goalie. So he's stepping up to the level that we need, which is it's really exciting to see. So yeah, hopefully we see this finish in 4 and get some rest. Obviously Sanderson out for game 4. I mean, it's just tough to see the Senators get up and have energy for that game after how they've just been shut down for the first 3 games. So yeah, excited for it, and I'm not going to look too far ahead, but hopefully should be a good matchup in the next series if we can get by them.
Well, I was going to ask you, David, and just kind of ask the panel as well. You know, with these 3-0 series leads, do these teams really want to finish up in 4 and have to sit around for a while, or do they want to we've seen this backfire on teams at times before. Do you feel, David, that Carolina's a team that if they go on and take care of business, the few days of rest will help them to kind of get things just to readjust it and won't be too much time off between round 1 and round 2?
Yeah, so I'm completely with you. I mean, we see a lot of these teams who rely more on fluidity and things like that. They can't really struggle with time off. But I think for the Canes play an all-in every single second of the game kind of style. So in my opinion, I would love as much time off as possible. I don't think it's a question that you're going to get the top effort from the Canes, no matter if you have a week off in between games. I think that would honestly help, especially with Jarvis looking like he's pretty badly injured. I think he's got something wrong with his shoulder. But yeah, with how the Canes play and you give 110% effort every single game, I think it would be great to get some time off and get some rest. Because I think we've seen in the past the Canes. I mean, we've played some deep series, and
Yes.
by the
Great
third,
point.
and it's tough to keep going when the competition gets harder. So yeah, I think some time off would do the Canes great.
That's the thing, and I wanted to ask Rob, someone as he's played here, that look, you're worried about if you finish a series too soon. Yes, there's that element. We start game 1 in the second round. We're rusty. We're not sharp. We're off our game. We've been sitting around too long. We've been off too many days. But I think teams come after it at 3-0, think, let's still get it done as soon as possible. Don't want to give the other team hope. Don't want to give them any life or momentum or belief. Not to mention, we're trying to win not 1 round, but 4 rounds. So if we can preserve ourselves and give ourselves some time off early here in the playoffs after the first round, it could show up later in the conference final or in the Stanley Cup final that we play less games, by the time we get to that part of the playoffs. How do you see it, Rob?
Yeah, no, rest is the deadliest weapon, of course. That being said, there's no cookie cutter answer for that. It really depends on the roster that you have. if you're an older roster, the days off are best. Like getting that done in 4 is crucial. If you're younger, you got a bunch of young bucks, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Sometimes with the young bucks too, like if you get done early, you got like 10 days in between series, you got to worry about the guys getting too many pops in, going out and like hanging out too much, where their focus can get distracted. But that there's different ways to look at it. But that being said, we're in my experience, it's always been, let's get this over with as quick as possible. Things linger on in the playoffs. You never know. Like you see the Stanley Cup Finals, I think it was 2 years ago with the Panthers. Like they were smoking the Oilers the first 3 games. And then they brought it back, like came to game 7. So you just never know. And it's always like, get it done as quick as possible. There's no calculation. There's no conversation of like, hey, maybe we should stretch this out. Nobody's saying that ever.
Nobody. There you go.
And you're never really worried about rust either. You don't get rusty. Like you play 82 game schedule in season. Like if 6 days or whatever between games is going to build up rust on your game, like it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And especially for like a Carolina team. Like again, you mentioned it, David, they play like grit hockey. It's not like super skilled hockey, where that's a different thing. 6, 7 days, 8 days between making really high level skill plays in a hockey game. Yeah, that's different.
They play a controlled game. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. If you come out crashing, banging, like you can do that. No problem. So, and it's also not like everybody gets 6, 7 days off totally. Like you probably get 1 or 2 off away from the rink, go away from the rink for 2 days. Then we come back and we start to, probably bag first couple of days, like hard practices. And then you go into system stuff for 2 or 3 days and get ready for the next game.
Well, we will have 3 game 4s with a chance for teams to sweep over the weekend: Colorado, Philly, and Carolina. And we'll get into it more tomorrow, but I'll just a little spoiler alert for the show tomorrow. There's actually recent track record shows teams up 3-0 playing game 4 at home are more likely to sweep the series than teams up 3-0 with game 4 on the road. That is something to keep in mind, that we have seen game 4 home teams down 3-0 win more than game 4 road teams down 3-0 to keep the series alive. So that is something we'll talk about more tomorrow as far as those games. Yeah, David, go ahead. One last thing.
Another thing I was going to say is it's interesting because I don't really know. I think time off in between the rounds. I mean, we see the Flyers. I don't know how fast they're going to finish the series, but I think time off for the Flyers would hurt much more than the Canes. You kind of get more time to think about it, and they're more of like a fluid playing team and rely more on like talent in fluid play than the Canes do is in crashing and banging, like you were saying. So yeah, if the Flyers can win in 4 and the Canes can win in 4, I don't think it would be as much time off, obviously, but I think that would really well suit the Canes.
I would be really shocked if Pittsburgh gets swept. Like,
I agree with that.
I'm not going to be shocked if Ottawa get. I think Canes are the better. They needed to come out in 1 and 2.
And no Zub and Sanderson on the blue line. That's 2 critical defenders too for the Sens. Remember, Zub is still out as well. Yeah,
Sanderson eats up a ton of minutes, and he really dictates a lot of their play. So whoever's going to patch that hole is going to be a big hole. Comparable. I'm sure it's not going to be a men's league hockey player, but it's also not going to be a 40-minute guy.
Right.
But again, going back to it, I can't imagine the Penguins laying down. You know what I mean? The power play's been shit, and I think they get it together. They get in that film room, they break it down, and they come with some more structure. Because the Pens, it seems like the Pens have been forcing it the first 3 games, in my opinion.
Better. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. So they're forcing it. I think they calm down a little bit and start making some more, better execution and get some pucks in the net. So we'll see what happens. But it'd be interesting to see. I can't imagine Crosby laying down at where he's at in his career. He's going to want to fight.
He won't, but he's got to drag the other friggin' team with him into it tomorrow and see if they can stay alive. I'm just going to be brief on the other games last night because I have less to say about them than the Ottawa-Carolina series. But Buffalo, nice bounce back. I wish they had scored in the first period. That's the only gripe I've got. But they did bounce back. I kind of miffed that I didn't bet the money line last night with Buffalo. I kind of leaned to them bouncing back and winning. They've been a good road team. Not to mention Lindy Ruff, man. He knows the team. He takes the temperature of the team and said this was the right move to put in Alex. The Lion King. Alex a Lion. I did the melody. Biz tried to do it last night. He was awful. He didn't even get the melody right. He screwed it up. I did it right. just now. I'm talking about the 94 animated film, not the silly one they did live action a year or two ago. I didn't even watch that thing. I have no interest. Yeah,
Nice.
none, zero. The animated film with the great James Earl Jones doing the voice of Mufasa in that one. That's the movie. That's the Lion King movie. But anyway, that's another story. Alex, the Lion King, outstanding last night for the Buffalo Sabres. And I think Lindy put him in net too, because look, he had won 10 straight road games this year. He was on the verge of, I think, breaking a franchise record for 11 this season for the Sabres before he finally lost a game. But he was great last night, and Buffalo was opportunistic. Alex Tuck with what turned out to be the game winner. How about the game for Noah Ostlund, the guy that replaced Josh Norris last night? Holy mackerel, what a game from him. He fit in perfectly with Doan and Benson on that line. So great bounce back win for Buffalo. And I don't have much to say about Colorado. I was happy to finally see Colorado go over their team total and over 5.5. I did cash with both of those last night. I felt it was time for a higher scoring game. Colorado would open it up a little bit. They were able to do that in that 4-2 victory. They're just better than LA. That's all there is to it. There's not really more you can say about that. And Colorado has found a way to play pretty good defense. Wedgwood's been very good in this series. He had no chance on the 3-2 goal that made it interesting late from Kempe. Perfect redirection. What a pass by the breadman, Panarin. No chance for Wedgwood. He's had a great series. Colorado's just better. And I think they're going to sweep away the Kings I hope not, because I have 4-1 plus 250 for Colorado to win the series in 5, but I'm not so sure that's going to happen. Alex, anything you want to say for the other 2 games last night?
No, yeah, like I said, it looks like LA is pretty much done, and I had that exact order, hoping that they'd win Game 3, and they did show, I think, as much pushback as they possibly could in Game 3. It's just a mismatch. It's an absolute mismatch, and it looks like the Kings. We've talked about them all year long. They didn't deserve to be here anyway. You had 19 regulation wins throughout the year, and they were gifted all the different points, and the mess of the coaching throughout the year with Hiller and then the DJ Smith. Yeah, he brought up the offense a little bit more, but also then the defense kind of fell apart. So it's just the Kings are who they are. And I think they showed as much fight as they possibly could in Game 3, and it'll probably be curtains for them in Game 4, certainly. And then with that Buffalo-Boston game, that was one I kind of wanted to stay away from that game. Like I said, I just had that first period over, didn't cash with that, but it just felt like it was going to be another tight game. The series is just playing really tight to the vest, where these are 2 teams that look like they'd be playing more up and down hockey when you saw them in the regular season. So it's been kind of tough from a totals aspect, but good win for Buffalo to get that 2-1 series lead, and possibly now to be able to go home potentially up 3-1 would be massive for that Sabres club and their psyche.
Yeah, we've talked about it, Rob, throughout the Colorado-LA series. It's been a theme. We've mentioned it. We've talked about it, certainly Alex and I, a lot. There's just so much lack of mobility on the LA blue line when you watch them play. I mean, it's just hard. It's just a clunky blue line. It's a sluggish blue line. With CC and older Drew Doughty and Dumoulin. These are just guys. Dumoulin too. He's had a lot of miles on those the tires, if you will, and it's been hard for them to keep up with Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado has so much speed. Natchez and McKinnon flying down the freaking ice on every single shift. It seems like every single puck touch, one of those 2 guys figures out a way to get up to full speed, which is, it's insanely skilled. It's not so easy. The only solution you really have there is to shadow them, either one of them or both of them. But the speed that those guys come with, like not many D in the world can take that on. And you're right, the D-core in LA is a little bit older. They did lose some pieces with Fiala being injured and out from the Olympics, and Perry, they moved at the deadline. So they've lost some pieces, and it's, Kopi's a little bit long in the tooth as well. And Breadman and Kempe are trying to take in. Byfield, they're trying to push back. But man, Colorado is just they're so stacked. Like, they're so deep. They're such a good team. And it's wild to think like they might not even get out of the West though. Like, that's how deep the West is. The West is insane. It's so good. Like, there's so many good players, so many good teams. I just feel like the East is way more open hockey, not as big bodied. It's always been that way too. I mean, I got drafted in 2004, man, and it was the same thing. Like, back, I was with Edmonton, and we go down to play San Jose. It's like, Joe Thornton, Marlowe, go down at Douglas Murray. Like, these guys, like mutants, like huge dudes.
I remember Doug Murray. big son of a gun. Yeah,
So
really big.
It's always been that way. It's such a big body game in the West, and it's tough. But yeah, for LA, it's tough to see because Douts is a friend of mine. I love the guy, and love to see something for him. But and having Kopitar's last year, it'd be nice to see them go on a run, but it doesn't look good. I mean, and it's not to knock them. It's just like Colorado is so good. Like they're filthy. McCarr is just doing whatever, and then Burns is playing like mean and chippy, and it's like you got all these pieces. It's a tough team to play up against. So.
Yeah, no question about that. Yeah, Robert, we'll let him talk about that before we get, because he's got to go in about 10 minutes or so, but we'll let him talk about that. The London Junior Knights apparently coaching them under 16. Yeah, that's right. He's paving the way for the next era of hockey players. Rob helping that out. Anything you want to add, David, about the other games?
No, I mean, I've just been I took a couple draws with the Sabres Bruins series so far. The games have been played so close. I mean, it feels like there's got to be an overtime game there somewhere in this series. So just going to keep blindly taking that. And as for the Kings, I mean, they're just getting outclassed. They just play the game where they just slow it down and they don't want much speed in the game. And I guess they're doing a good job of that. It's not the most attractive hockey to watch, kind of like the early 2020s Canes. But yeah, I mean, I think that series is just about over too. So yeah, not many other thoughts than that.
All right. This is a very unique theme on the show today with the 3 games taking place tonight. And the theme is, I think we're going to have buildings not literally on fire tonight in all 3 home venues, but I think we're going to have some serious enthusiasm in all 3 venues, Montreal, Utah, and Anaheim, for various reasons to give their team a boost as they return home. And all 3 teams returning home off not Montreal. Montreal lost game 2. Utah and Anaheim won game 2, but still they return home with a split in the first 2 games. We've got Tampa Bay, Montreal to start things off. Tampa Bay minus 120 road favorites, 5.5 the total here at the Bell Center. Series tied 1-1. I think the place is going to be rocking. It's the Bell Center. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's the Montreal Canadiens. It's one of the loudest places in the NHL. They're going to have the last line change here now back home. And the only thing I can quibble about with Montreal is I could see their 5-on-5 play needing to be a little bit better. They've really feasted on the power play, and the power play has been awesome for Montreal. But you'd like to be a little bit better, I think, 5-on-5 starting tonight in this game. And you'd also want the likes of Cole Caulfield in particular, to make more of an impact. He's been the one quiet Montreal Canadiens player in this series. Slavkovsky's been massive. He had the hat trick in game 1. Dropped the mitts with Brandon Hagel in game 2. He's had a tremendous series. You can see Oliver Kapanen's had a pretty good series up front. But Cole Caulfield's the guy and even Suzuki. Suzuki's been solid defensively, maybe a little quiet offensively. Those two, but especially Caulfield's been quiet from them offensively.
I think you touched on it too, Cam. Just like it's on the road, so guess who gets matched up?
Right.
And those are 2 smaller guys. They don't play small. I mean, they play big in stature in the sense of how they impact the game,
but Cooper can get the defensive matchup he wants against Caulfield on the road. It's
yeah,
not going to be
you get the film, you're watching their tendencies, and you figure out a way to keep the puck out of their hands where they're dangerous. And when they're smaller guys, like that's why Slavkovsky can have an impact, because he has 2 routes to do it. He can either do it with skill, or he come in and just bull the shit out of you, right? Like a bulldoze you over 6'3", whatever he is. He's a monster, dude. So those guys, when they get those tough matchups, like it sucks. And but I bet you now that they're probably licking their chops. You think St. Louis doesn't know what to do now and like get those guys in the right spots and get them the right touches and everything. So it's going to be interesting. And I don't want to deflect from what you're saying, but I'd want to protect the player in these 2 guys, because it's not like they're not trying. It's like, that's the thing. Like that's the NHL. Tampa gets last change. They are getting the toughest matchup every single time.
Yeah, no question. There's a good memory from Jonathan Davis in the chat. I was working the Kings Habs 93 Stanley Cup final. They lit one of the LA TV vans on fire. Yeah. Wow.
Oh boy.
I'm not shocked to hear that. Not shocked to hear that, because, and you can imagine what Montreal would be these days, if that team gets back to a Stanley Cup final. It'd just be incredible. I'm going to keep it simple. I think they come out. Now, you could say it could work in the negative. They're so amped up. They're so keyed. There's so much adrenaline flowing, pulsating through their veins that maybe it works against them. Montreal a little bit with that crowd. But I'm going to say goal in the first period, minus 144 for Montreal. It's at FanDuel. It's a good enough price to bet it. You could always wait a couple minutes, get a better price. That's what I like most of all. I don't hate, I actually don't hate over by Fecta here in this game, because we've seen this series go over under in the first 2 games. Maybe it's going to be one of those series where it's a zigzag totals type of series. Over game 1, under game 2, in that 3-2 Lightning win, and we go back to, and it's only 5.5. I could see it just getting up and over that total.
Who's reffing?
That's gonna, that's something I should track more, Rob. I mean to. I gather more referee statistics. Who's calling more penalties and who's calling fewer? Because
it could be a gong show. Like, these guys are at each other's throats right now.
Yeah.
Like, you see Perry in the box screaming at
Well, it's been a penalty parade in the first 2
Wi-Fi.
games, so I think it's going to continue regardless of who the officials are. Just
that'll
based
play
on
with your over under.
Yeah, it certainly will, no doubt. But I'm going to go with that. Montreal goal in the first period. You could talk me into that. I probably will take the first goal first period, but I like just the goal in the first period more, because it could be one of these deals where maybe they're just so excited and amped up, they make a mistake, Tampa scores, and then Montreal gets their first goal. So I like Montreal goal in the first period most of all. I'll dabble with the first goal, first period as well. Montreal, a little bit full game money line too, because I could see this being a zigzag with the side as well. I think Montreal will play better. And now Marty St. Louis gets a chance with last change to make an impact, free up Caulfield, and over 5.5 here for me. Alex, what do you think here? Game 3, Tampa Bay, Montreal.
For what it's worth, I was looking up. Chris Rooney and Peter McDougall are going to be referees for this game. So, like I said, that's something I don't look at too heavy. I know some people who kind of look at that a little bit further in, but like I said, I think this is going to just be a Habs kind of just, like I said, riding off that energy and that wave. Where, like I said, some teams could be kind of tripped up from that. I don't think Montreal will be. I think they'll be ready for their barn, ready for that atmosphere and that crowd. I like first goal, first period, plus 135. I actually even like a small piece of the alternate team total in the first period, over 1.5 plus 350. I could easily see the Habs getting at least 2 goals in this first period. And I have a bargain bin that'll be coming from this game as well. But I like Habs to win this one, and I think it's going to be piling on early. Tampa Bay is a team that they know how to play in these environments. Certainly not phased by either. Bless you. But this is overall looking like a spot where, like I said, I think Montreal just they've been gearing up for this spot. That place is going to be, that barn's going to be rocking and rolling, and I think they have a strong start early that carries them to a Game 3 victory.
You know what? I'm looking back at that Washington-Montreal Game 3 at the Bell Center last year in the first round. It was 1-1 Washington-Montreal after the first period, but Montreal won that game 6-3. That was the crazy game with Tom Wilson and Josh Anderson, right, fighting in the bench. That was that very game, Game 3 of the first round last year against Washington. But Montreal won that game. To me, this feels kind of like that game. To me, I think this is kind of Montreal's spot here. Goal in the first, team total, money line, over 5.5. I'm liking all those different looks here in this game. And I also have a bargain bin here from this game. But Rob, I know you got to run because you only got about 5 minutes or so. So we'll go rapid fire through the 3 games with you tonight, right now, starting with this one. What do you think?
I'm taking Tampa Bay. I think they're a gritty team, veteran team. It could get physical, and I like them coming out on top. I think Kucherov is going to get hotter. He's finding the patterns, and he's seeing the game a little bit better. So I like them coming in on the road and playing spoiler. And that being said, it's going to be an entertaining game, and I have to pull for my buddy Corey Perry. So it's a coin flip for me, but with Perry being on that team, I'm taking Tampa, and that's my reasoning. So
there you go.
If you're listening to me, it doesn't mean I know what I'm doing. I'm just telling you why I'm doing it.
No, I get it. All right, next up, we've got Vegas and Utah. We're going to roll through these games with Rob, and then we'll go back around and get everyone's thoughts on everything else. Vegas, Utah, minus 110 even money. Series tied 1-1, 5.5 the total. First ever home playoff game, Delta Center, Salt Lake City, Utah, for this franchise. You got to believe the team, the crowd in that building. It's going to be a frenzy to begin. Can it fuel Utah to a second straight victory in this series against the Vegas Golden Knights, who have looked, Utah's played them dead even in the first 2 games. They played them even in game 1, even though they lost. And I thought they outplayed Vegas in game 2. And they got the win. Utah looks like they are not timid of the playoff stage. What do you think here, Rob? Game 3, Vegas, Utah.
I think I like Utah here coming home with that, first playoff game in the barn. That's these guys are going to be, there's going to be so much electricity in the building. It's going to be easy for those guys to get up. That being said, it does put a little bit of pressure on. You can't overdo it if you want to come over and entertain your home crowd. So hopefully they keep that intact. But I like them, following up the last game and coming home and putting up a good performance for the crowd. So I would take Utah.
All right, there you go. Liking the Mammoth in their first home playoff game in franchise history. And we wrap the last game of the night is Anaheim and Edmonton. What I was surprised, and why, I mentioned Montreal and Utah for obvious reasons. Montreal's Montreal. This is the first home playoff game in Utah Mammoth history. So those buildings are going to be in a frenzy. People may think, well, maybe Anaheim, not so much. I heard on a caller, or a couple callers from Anaheim area on an NHL network radio show yesterday say they've got friggin' merch giveaways down the street from the arena for free merch, free swag for the Ducks. The cars were lined up all the way down the road for it. Like, they're amped up. This young team has galvanized the casual sports fan in that area, the OC, Orange County. So that is something to factor in here, that could be a tougher barn, the Honda Center tonight, for Edmonton to deal with. Now, they're going to be looking to bounce back. Connor McDavid's at a quiet series. Will he be able to do it's the question, Rob? How do you see it, Edmonton, Anaheim?
I would take Edmonton here, and for that reason of McDavid being quiet. I think he's going to, again, same thing, going to find the patterns, just like Kucherov. He's going to find the patterns. He's recognizing the cracks. He's been held off for 2 games. When this guy gets motivated and pissed off, they're like, it doesn't matter. You can bring in 1 million fans for the Anaheim Ducks, and it does not matter. He is that good. So I like him having a hell of a game tonight. I think he's going to drive the boat. I don't think they can keep him off the score sheet. And when he opens the floodgates, it opens. So I like him coming in with some piss and vinegar tonight and having himself a game. And I think I would take that. I would take the Oilers in that one. And I mean, I didn't pick any of the over-unders on the other ones, but I think this would be a high-scoring game. Because with that said, these young kids aren't backing down either. Like, the Anaheim Ducks are not backing down. The Carlsons, like this crew, Terry, they've got a good crew. They got a good coach who's been there, done that, won cups with Chicago, and he's a pure player.
Yeah, I think
coach.
that Quenneville guy can coach. I think
he can coach and he can motivate, and I think the guys are buying it. I mean, it's a fun product. It's been a great series and so far, and I think it's still going to be. But I like it being a high-scoring game, and I like McDavid putting up a bunch.
I mean, you couldn't beg me to bet an under in this series so far.
Yeah.
Now, look, I know we're seeing 6.5s with juice and 7s are starting to appear with the total, but even then, it's still pretty difficult. Rob, we know you got to run, so just quickly on the way out, your bargain bin special. I know you mentioned Mackenzie Weegar for Utah.
Yep.
Was one of the ones you liked, and that was a good price on that. It was a really good price on that, plus 900, I think, for Mackenzie Weegar for Utah to find the back of the net. And Perry was the other. Yeah,
yes,
Corey Perry. Scory, you're hoping he's Scory Perry.
Corey Perry, buddy.
Plus 570. So there you go. 2 bargain bins for Rob for tonight. And your best bet, I believe, was the game we just talked about, right?
Yeah, that's the one I like the best out of all. I mean, they're all so close, but again, I think McDavid comes in with some motivation, extra motivation, and he puts up a big point night and carries the team to a big victory.
I have some thoughts on that game. From the beginning, I've been torn on that game tonight, Edmonton and Anaheim, but I've landed on a conclusion, and I'll get to it obviously later in the show. But Rob liking Edmonton, minus 130 for best bet. Rob, get on out of here. Thanks for joining us, man. We'll get you on again down the road.
Sounds good, boys. Take care.
There we go. Rob Schremp with us here on the Ice Guys show.
Girl.
Appreciate it. Good stuff indeed. And like I said, definitely a situation. There we go. I think you forgot to exit the studio. There we go. I had to send him to the door there. That's crazy. I think he was going to leave without closing his. That
happens sometimes.
Yeah, it happens. But great stuff with Rob Schremp. He's taking his daughter to tennis lessons or something right now. So good stuff indeed. All right. So Montreal, Tampa. Alex, you talked about it. I gave my thoughts. David, how do you see it here? Habs and Lightning.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, coming into this series, I thought that Tampa was going to be able to assert themselves, and I took Tampa minus 1.5 games. I thought that they were going to come out looking good, and they've really only looked good. I mean, they had 2 home games, and they looked good for 1.5 periods, maybe at the end of game 2. I mean, I don't know. Without Hedman, they've just been struggling. I think they just have not looked quite as good as I thought that they were going to coming into the series. Montreal has kind of been flying around them, looked great coming in. I mean, I don't know how you don't go with Montreal here. Playing at home, it's going to be a great crowd. I mean, they showed that they could play in Tampa. Not that Tampa's the craziest barn, but yeah, I mean, Montreal showed that they can hang with Tampa in those first two games. Tampa really, the last period and a half of game two. I mean, it was kind of you had to have it after dropping game one. Kind of had to have it. They showed that they were the better team, but I think that there's more evidence from the first five periods or so of the series that Montreal can hang with them. So yeah, I like Montreal here. I like some Safkovsky props as well. He's played over 23 minutes a game in the first two games, over 13 minutes of power play time already, 9 shots on goal through two games with 16 attempts and a post hit. So that's pretty much 10 attempts on net, over 2.5 shots on goals, minus 140. I think we see he can get involved. Yeah, so I think Montreal takes the win at home tonight.
All right, good stuff. Like in Montreal. As far as props for this game, I have a bargain bin from this game, Tampa Bay and Montreal. I have 2 bargain bins. One of them is from this game. But as far as Hagel, Anderson have scored in back-to-back games. Bjorkstrand ended up scoring last game for the Tampa Bay Lightning. It feels like this is a time for Caulfield to arrive on the scene. I'm going to do a 2-goal sprinkle on Caulfield tonight. It's not Saturday night. It's only Friday night. I get it. But Cole Caulfield over 1.5 goals, I'll sprinkle on that. I think he could get loose tonight. The last line change, the better matchup that Marty St. Louis should be able to get for Caulfield tonight could come into play. So I think that's worth a shot. I like what Rob Shrimp's thinking with Corey Perry playing the villain in Montreal. I could see that being a situation, where obviously, he actually thrives, I think, even more playing on the road in these kind of environments, again, especially against a former team. So I could totally see Corey Perry finding the back of the net here tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning in this game. Nick Paul. I mean, I'm stubborn when it comes to Nick Paul. I always talk about, Nick Paul scored before against Montreal, not in this series so far, but maybe back in Montreal tonight he will. For the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I'm interested there. Gonzalez with Point and Kucherov, there's probably some value. Slavkovsky, has been very, very good, obviously, in this series for the Canadiens. I'm shocked that Marty St. Louis did not make Kirby Dach a healthy scratch tonight. No lineup changes up front for Montreal. And Kirby Dach is still in there. I thought that was a healthy scratch-worthy offense the other night. Icing the puck in overtime and then losing his man J.J. Moser off the faceoff in overtime. I thought that was, and plus he hasn't been doing anything offensively, jack shit. I thought that was a time to say, you know what, sit your ass down, son. That's it. We can't be having you doing this anymore, and you haven't been good for a while for us. But no, Kirby Dach is back in there tonight. I thought Brendan Gallagher would get into this game, but nope, not the case. Joe Veleno, you could have made a case maybe he would get into the lineup. Nope, Kirby Dach is still in there. A little surprised, but hey, he's the coach, Marty St. Louis, not me. A couple things as far as the other props, because I'm starting to bet these other props more and more too, like shots on goal, saves. Darren Radish has gone over 3.5 shots on goal in 4 straight games. Kucherov's gone over 3.5 shots on goal in both games in this series. Kemp, Gensel, and Hudson, believe it or not, have gone over their shots on goal in both games in this series as well. Blocked shots, Matheson. Both games, he's gone over 2.5 blocked shots for Montreal. That could be something to consider here tonight in this game. Chernak, McDonough are your considerations on the Tampa side for sure as far as blocked shots are concerned. Saves prop, I'm kind of neutral on these 2 saves props tonight. A small lean to Vasilevsky over 20 because it's only 22.5, and at home I could see Montreal firing pucks on net. And feeding off the crowd. So we'll lean a little bit to the Vasilevsky of the 2. I like Vasilevsky over saves more than Dobish here tonight. So leaning in those 2 directions there. Good stuff. Anything else to add, David?
Yeah, like you were saying about the Radish over 3.5 shots on goal prop. He's averaging over 26 minutes a game through 2 so far. He's already played over 13 minutes of time on the power play, 17 shot on goal attempts with 10 on net. So that over 3.5 shots on goal, I think it's in the plus 115. I like that prop too.
All right, good stuff. All right, Vegas, Utah, even money. 5.5 the total. I know Rob Shrimp liked Utah, and I do too, but I like them early even more. I like the Utah first goal, first period, Utah goal in the first period, all that stuff. I think they feed off the first ever home playoff game at Delta Center. I got to admit, I like Vegas in the series. I have Vegas to win game one in the series from before the series as a bet. I'm worried about it a little bit. I look at those two games, and we'll see if you guys disagree, but I see Utah's toe-to-toe, and they were better than Vegas in game two. Like, that's what I see. I see that they've actually outplayed Vegas more in this series through two games than vice versa. And that's concerning because the one thing that I'm still fearful of with Utah is Vejmelka. He can implode at any minute. He's been up and down. He's been erratic, but their forwards have been better. I think their D has handled Vegas pretty well. We haven't seen Eichel and Marner be phenomenal by any stretch of the imagination in the first two games. There's a series, and we've kind of looked at Vegas's blue line, and has all these great names on it: Shea Theodore, Braden McNabb, and Noah Hannafin. These guys that have been around the block. They looked a step slow the other night. I'm just telling it. Like, my eyeballs told me they looked slow against Utah the other night, especially that back end. And they had a hard time dealing with it. Like, they couldn't sort out coverage in the D zone on the Logan Cooley game winner that made it 3-2 in game two. That's a problem where you look slow against a team that's just zipping around the puck and moving faster than you are. That's a concern I have for Vegas a little bit. So we'll see if they can fix it. I still think they could win this series. This game we'll see, but I like them. I like Utah early. I'll sprinkle on the full game, but I like Utah more early in this game to make an impact. This total at 5.5, I'm kind of leaning over with it as well. 5.5 here. But yeah, I like Utah early. I like some props as well. Alex, what do you think? Vegas, Utah.
I like goals early, but I don't think it's going to be all Utah. I think Vegas is going to chip in as well. I like first period over, get minus $1.12 at FanDuel. I like both teams to score plus 190, even more. But that's going to be just an absolutely raucous atmosphere. Like I said, I remember the old Utah Jazz games in that Delta Center. That place gets super loud. Even the Utah Grizzlies back in the day played and won some championships in that place. That's a very loud and raucous atmosphere when it's.
They're right on the ice with the structure of that venue inside
right.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's going to definitely be an intense atmosphere, but I think it's gonna spark both teams in this one. So it's not so much Utah first goal for me. I like both teams to score in the first period over, and because I have the plus 175 for Utah to have a 2-1 series lead after 3 games, by de facto that's my Utah money line. So no reason for me to add anything extra on that.
Yeah, I think. By the way, I'm just going back and I'm looking right now in the first 2 games. We did have both teams to score first period in game 2 of this series. And we saw that Utah scored a first period goal in every game in this series. So that's why I really like the Utah goal. Same with Montreal. That's why I really like Utah and Montreal both to get on the board with the goal in the first period bet for both the Canadiens and the Mammoth here tonight. But this one could be a both teams to score just because you got Vegas off the loss too. They could chip in early in this game. I don't mind that at all. It did go up. There was a both teams to score first period in the last game. Between them, I like Carter Hart over saves, and I'm not I'm getting into the other props besides goals and assists and points more now that we're into the playoffs and there's less games. I mean, the Carter Hart over saves makes sense to me. The home environment. I could see Utah throwing a lot of pucks at net. We've seen Vegas concede a bunch of shots here so far in the first 2 games, and Carter Hart's gone over his saves prop in each of the 2 games so far in this series, and it's only 23.5. for Carter Hart as far as the over saves. So that's a saves prop I like. It's probably one of my favorite saves props of the night would be Carter Hart for Vegas over. And Carter Hart's been great in this series. He's been great for Vegas. Even in the loss against Utah game 3-2, I don't think you fault him at all. I thought he still played very solid there. David, what do you think here? Vegas, Utah.
Yeah, I don't know how you don't like Utah here. I'm with you. I was with Vegas early before the series. I thought the experience, they looked pretty fresh coming into the playoffs, like a new team compared to early in the season. But I mean, first home playoff game for this Utah team. I mean, you look at that game too. In the first game, I thought Vegas was the better team. You look at the second one, and Utah was really just handling the speed of that game. I don't think Vegas could really keep up with the speed that Utah was bringing. And I think that's a great momentum builder coming to play at home your first playoff game. I mean, it's going to be pretty crazy in there. Just the way that arena is built, it looks like it's kind of built for a crazy playoff atmosphere. Yeah, so I like Utah. I think that they can handle the speed. I mean, Vegas is they kind of got the new coaching bump for a few weeks, but now they kind of seem like they looked flat in that game too. And I think Utah can really take advantage here. So yeah, I'm with the Mammoth at home here. I think your mic's off, but
There we go.
I also
Yeah,
just
it
kind of
was.
forgot.
Yeah.
I like the Gunther over 3.5 shots on goal. 15 attempts in game one, 10 attempts in game two. Just just firing at the net. So I expect the same thing with the first home playoff game. I think it's going to be crazy. I think they're just firing pucks at hard and net.
The players that have gone over their shots on goal in the first two games are Krause for Utah, Gunther for Utah, Schmaltz for Utah, Cooley for Utah, Uyghur for Utah. He's actually gone over 1.5 shots in the first two games. For Cooley and Schmaltz, they've gone over 2.5 in both games. Krause also over 1.5 in both games. And Gunther, it's been over 3.5 shots for him in each of the first two games going into this one here tonight. So very, very fascinating game. Should be a great atmosphere and fun to watch. As far as goal props, I agree with what Jonathan's saying. Close shave, Barbashev. Ivan Barbashev's tremendous price here, plus 350. He scored in back-to-back games. He's had history of scoring against Utah as well. So I like that. Mark Stone, he's scored in back-to-back games. Logan Cooley has been excellent in the first two games in this series, so the goal prop for him makes a ton of sense as well here tonight. As far as point streaks are concerned, we got 3-game point streak for Marner, 2-game point streaks for Barbashev, Stone, and Cooley entering this game. So if you want to ride those point streaks, those are the players you'd certainly be looking to target. Do I go back to the well with Yamamoto one? Maybe because it's home ice now. Yeah, Kyler Yamamoto. He's with Cooley and Gunther on that second line. So I'll take a shot with it here tonight. All right, last game. Also out west, Edmonton, Anaheim. Edmonton minus 130, road favorites, 6.5, 7 the total in some spots. Series tied 1-1. Rob Shrimps likes Edmonton. The nature of this series, if you believe in the zigzag and it being back and forth, would lead you to like an Edmonton here in this game. Then I see this stuff about how excited things are. How excited the OC Orange County area is and how that building could be rocking tonight in Anaheim. And the fact that McDavid hasn't looked right, whether it's him not playing well, whether it's he's injured and he's not 100%, or if it's a combination of both, he hasn't looked himself so far. And that was at home. And can he all of a sudden look better here on the road? That's going to be the question. But this is another game where I'm leaning dog here with the Ducks, believe it or not. And I like them early, to get a goal in the first period. Ride that momentum of the crowd here a little bit. And I'm going back, and I think Edmonton could clearly get on the board too in the opening 20 minutes, coming off that disappointing setback in game 2. Both teams to score in the first period was a great bet in game 2 of this series in Edmonton, and I think it's a great bet here tonight in game 3 of this series. So give me that Edmonton, Anaheim, both teams to score first period, as well as Anaheim goal in the first period. I will get back to an over, but not pregame, not 6.5 at minus 150 or 7. As far as the total is at some books, it's up to 7 this total here tonight. But I will wait for that to fall a little bit. Jonathan Davis in our chat's got the right idea here. If you want to bet it pregame and get involved with the over, you could bet at a plus price both teams to score 3 goals in the game at a plus price. That's probably a better idea if you want to get involved pregame than laying minus 150 or whatever it is with the over 6.5 pregame. So I will wait for the 6.5 to get to a better price early. But that's a nice alternative. If you want to get involved pregame, both teams to score 3 goals at a plus price is a nice alternative. But obviously, you couldn't beg me to bet an under in this series. I think I said that earlier, and I'll say it again. You just can't do it. The pace it's been fire wagon hockey. It hasn't slowed down yet. Now, there is that element of 2 overs at home. Do we get the under on the road? Kind of the reverse of the other angle we talked about, where 2 unders in the first 2 games and then an over in game 3. Will it be reversed tonight? 2 overs in game 1 and 2 and now an under tonight? I can't bet it. I just can't. Not with what I've seen with my own 2 eyes, with the pace and the tempo and the back and forth nature of this series and the defensive vulnerabilities and, quite frankly, the goaltending vulnerabilities. Connor Ingram's got a -3 or 4 goals saved above expected in this series. He hasn't been great. Now, they haven't helped him on defense, but Connor Ingram was really good in the regular season, Alex, and I don't think he's been as good in the first 2 games of this series. That would be a concern for anybody thinking under here. What do you think, Alex? Game 3 out west, Edmonton, Anaheim.
This is a good live game, late night. Wait and see what the pace is. I'm not stunned that Anaheim fans are going to be, rocking that place tonight. That's a crowd we've seen from way back in the day. When they have a good team, they show up and they show out. So it should be a loud barn in Anaheim, just like it would be in Utah or Montreal. But that's not going to phase Edmonton much at all. This is the team that's played in some of the harshest environments of the last 3 years, and it wouldn't shock me if they get on the board first. So this is one I want to wait and see. Like I said, with everything kind of inflated, even both teams that score in the first period, you're getting plus 136, not the best price. So I want to wait a couple minutes, see what the tempo is, and jump in live on this game.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some good looks live in this game for those of you wanting to wait and wait for things to transpire first before getting involved. David, what do you think here? Oilers, Ducks.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty fast-paced game. I mean, I think that these are the 2 teams that when they play, they don't really play like they're in the playoffs. It's been a much more open game. I don't think either team is afraid to trade looks. I mean, we've seen that with the Oilers for a few years with McDavid on these runs. They're not afraid to trade blows, and that's the same thing with how the Ducks have played the entire season. I mean, you look at the games between these 2 teams this season. There's been 11 goals, 6 and 7 and 10. So they've all been really high pace and a lot of scoring. And the Oilers have scored 24 goals in the 5 meetings between these teams this year. So yeah, I think it's going to be the same thing that we expect. I think both teams are gonna be scoring. I could see. I think both teams to score 3 goals as they're in the plus 130 range. I mean, that's happened in 4 of the 5 meetings so far. And the one time that a team didn't score 3, it was 2. So yeah, I like. I think my favorite play for this one is Oilers team total over 3.5 in the minus 125 range. I think we see the same thing. I think they come out firing and trade blows. So I like the over 6.5 is a little bit scary, sitting at minus 150 for a playoff game. But I think we can more so count on Edmonton bringing the offense. So I like the over 3.5 team total at minus 125.
One of them, we'll see if we hear it a lot tonight. And one of the unique goal horns in the NHL resides right here in the Honda Center with Anaheim. It feels like a friggin' steamboat or a ship is coming in. Vroom, vroom, vroom. That's how that sounds. The goal horn there in Anaheim. It's like a ship coming in. And I know the Anaheim Ducks are going to hope to hear that sound quite a bit here tonight in this game. But prop-wise, obviously we've seen a lot of offense. We've seen a lot of certainly up and down, frenetic action, back and forth throughout the first 2 games of this series. So certainly there's going to be some good prop looks here tonight. Alex Killorn, it was like 1 goal, 1 game too late with him. But, plus 400 for the veteran presence he provides. Lots of playoff experience. He scores big goals in the playoffs, going back to his days with Tampa Bay. I don't hate that price. We saw Cutter Gauthier, who's been the best goal scorer for Anaheim this year, score last game. Leon Draisaitl has really done damage against Anaheim in the past. We'll see if that continues tonight. As far as points go going into this game, there's some good value with some points props. Jackson Kookie, lend me Lacombe. Jackson Lacombe, he's on a 5-game point streak. He's gotten a point in the first 2 games of this series, each of the first 2, and it's only minus 120. It's a very good price for a Jackson Lacombe point prop. Troy Terry's gotten points in 3 straight games dating back to the regular season, both games in this series. Vasily Podkolzin, points in both games in this series. Kasperi Kapanen for Edmonton, points in both games in this series. Matthias Ekholm and Jake Wallman from the Edmonton Blue Line, they have registered a point in each of the first 2 games in this series as well. And, Ekholm is plus 160 and Wallman is over plus 200 to get a point. and they've registered points in back-to-back games in this series. So you could really find some good looks, some good value here throughout this game. And I would probably look, even though I think Anaheim at home, I could see them scoring. I think they'll be more capitalizing on the fewer chances they get. I think if I were to look at a saves prop, I'd be more interested, even though the game's in Anaheim, in Dostal over saves tonight, 25.5, because Edmonton has been the superior shot team. Now, it's been at home. You expect it to be maybe a little bit different here on the road tonight, but still 34 and 37 shots for the Oilers in the first two games. All we're asking for is Edmonton to get high 20s, low 30s in shots, and Dostal is going to have a heck of a chance to get over his saves prop here tonight at 25.5. So I would still look at the Dostal over saves, which have cashed in each of the first two games, by the way, in this series so far. David, go ahead.
I was gonna say this kind of feels like the kind of game where McDavid's like, oh, that was a cute win, and just completely takes this game over. That's kind of what this feels like. Hasn't scored through 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. But this he was flying by the end of the game too, just creating tons of chances and taking it on his own. So I think this is the kind of game that he just takes over. I could see him scoring a couple goals. I think his goal score prop is like plus 110. I could see him bagging a couple. I think this is the kind of game he just takes over. It's like, oh, that's cute, and just skates completely through the zone, takes on a few guys, and nets a couple. So yeah, I like McDavid anytime goal scorer.
I would love to see the history of Connor McDavid off back-to-back games without a point. It's rare to see him have one game without a point. Back-to-back games now without a point in this series. What has he done in those spots? Specifically off back-to-back games off a point. You're always worried that this is the game Connor McDavid just goes ape shit and he goes crazy. 3 points, 2 goals, 2 assists, something like that, goes off. But that giveaway in game 2, I think he's playing at less than 100%. That's just me. I think he's playing at less than 100%. That doesn't totally excuse him for the way he's played in the first 2 games, not getting a point. But that giveaway kind of leads me to think there's something going on health-wise with Connor McDavid still. And that's impacting him from a negative standpoint here in this series so far. Now, he could go off tonight, and we'll see. And he's certainly got the will. I mean, this is not a matter of lack of will or want to, not with that guy, but I think he is battling something from a injury standpoint. So that'll be fascinating to watch how number 97 looks and responds tonight on the ice here in Game 3. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. We thank Rob Shrimp joining us earlier, of course. Make sure you check out wizardsportspicks.com. Daily premium picks, long-term all sports passes available as well. Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, MLB, and more. wizardsportspicks.com. And, of course, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. Now, we will, as soon as we kind of firm things up, we want to see what the schedule looks like for Wednesday, Thursday. We'll get some BetCast dates announced very soon, hopefully as early as tomorrow for the next week for Patreon members, because we are going to have at least one, perhaps 2, depending on what the schedule's like. But definitely we will have one Patreon exclusive live BetCast for sure next week. Dates to be determined. We want to see what the schedule looks like, how deep these series go, which series are going to go 6 or 7, or which ones might end early in 4 or 5. Once we figure all that out, we'll get some BetCast dates announced for next week for Patreon members. So you'll have access to those exclusive Patreon live BetCasts next week. You'll also get goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page, all the bonus content as well. So get on board. Just $10 per month. The Dub Club subscription discount offer with me for all sports is still there for Patreon members only as well. So check it out. And again, your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. Get on board for just $10 per month at patreon.com/iceguys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You've got 6 days left to save 20% off all items in the store. Just hit that redeem button at the home page, add your items to the cart. 20% will be taken off the checkout. Springtime, playoff time is a great time to grab a t-shirt, a cap, a hoodie, or maybe all 3. And you can save 20% for the next 6 days. That's over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Jonathan Davis is a machine, and for reasons like this, Jonathan Davis. I mentioned I'll be interested to know what's McDavid been like with back-to-back without a point. Well, he's got the data for the last time Connor McDavid went back-to-back without a point that were not the final 2 games of a series. It was actually 2021 versus Winnipeg, and he had 3 assists, 3 points in that next game. So we'll see if this means McDavid's coming to life tonight for Edmonton. They hope he does. We'll see if that is indeed the case, but good to know that. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. Perlo in the chat reminding me of the unfortunate call I've made with Matt Savoy. You're right. He's had a disappointing series so far for Edmonton, considering he's up with McDavid on the top line and how well he was producing down the stretch of the regular season. My Matt Savoy props, the over 1.5, 2.5 goals. We got to get him going a little bit here in this series. He's been a little quiet here in the first 2 games so far for the Oilers. Hopefully we're not quiet tonight when it comes to the bargain bin special of the night. We'll see if we can add to the win column with that. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night.
Yeah, let's go to that Montreal Tampa Bay game. And a guy who has been kind of quiet in the first couple of games has been Cole Caulfield, as you mentioned. I like him to jump out in the big way. I think he gets the first goal of the game. Grab that plus 950 best price available over at BetOnline. I see a 9-1 over at FanDuel as well. So that's going to be my one bargain bin tonight. Cole Caulfield to get the first goal of the game from Montreal plus 950.
All right, David, bargain bin special.
There were a few ways I wanted to go with this. I like the McDavid over 2.5 points, but it's south of the plus 300. So we're going to get a little weird with it. We're going to go Gunther and Slavkovsky over 3.5 shots on goal parlay at plus 400. Both of them have just been producing and just chucking everything at the net. I think Montreal is going to be shooting a ton of pucks in this electric home crowd. And same within Utah. I think it's just going to be a lot of good energy. I think it's going to keep the same pressure from the two that they've been firing at the net the whole game. And same thing. The parlay of the two, anytime goal score at plus 655 at Bet365. Gunther and Slavkovsky parlay anytime goal score plus 655.
All right, there we go. Good stuff indeed. Very interesting. I like it. The creative ways to go about it for David with the bargain bin special. All right, bargain bin special. I have 2. First, Tampa Bay, Montreal. Hopefully it's not too late for a guy that's elevated in the playoffs for this team. He scored in both of the first 2 games. Josh Anderson for the Montreal Canadiens plus 650. Best price out there for Josh Anderson. So still a great price. He's been terrific. Finding the back of the net, making an impact. Josh Anderson from Montreal plus 650 for my first bargain bin special of the night. Second bargain bin special of the night for this slate. Hopefully I'm not too late with this one. He scored last game for Edmonton. He also entering the lineup, by the way, in game 2 for the Oilers. The last time he played, he also scored before last night. Josh Szymanski. We're going to see if we can maybe cash it. It's not often we get a 10-1 bargain bin special on this show, for me at least. But we're going to go with it tonight. Josh Szymanski, you can find at Batano plus 1,000 for him to find the back of the net tonight. So there you go. Josh Anderson, Montreal plus 650. Two Joshes. Josh Szymanski for Edmonton plus 1,000, 10-1. for my 2 bargain bin specials for this Friday night. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you got for best bet?
Yeah, expecting a raucous crowd at Delta Center in Utah, and I think we're going to get goals both ways here. So give me the first period, both teams to score, plus 190 with Vegas, Utah tonight.
All right, Vegas, Utah, both teams to score, first period for Alex with best bet. David, what do you got for best bet?
Yeah, best bet. We're going kind of with the McDavid side, but we're going with Edmonton team total over 3.5. We've seen all the games that they've played. They've scored 24 goals in the 5 games against Anaheim this season. We've seen in this series that they've been both open to playing an open game and trading blows. So we're going with Edmonton team total 3.5. I think they come out flying, and off that loss, I think McDavid gets them going off on the offensive end. So yeah, Edmonton team total over 3.5 at minus 125.
There you go. Liking the and I would say, David, if you like Edmonton, don't lay the $1.30 or 35. Take the team total over 3.5. They're gonna, if they win, they're probably gonna score 4 goals.
And they can lose. They can lose scoring 4 goals. We've seen that.
We saw that in game 2, 100%, and we could see that tonight. So like I said, if you like Edmonton, I think definitely team total over 3.5 is a better bet than money line for sure, because they could still give up goals like they did in game 2, where they went over their team total but lost the game. My best bet, it's also a team total. Let's crank up the theme song. Bleu, blanc, rouge, le Canadien, le Canadien. The Montreal Canadiens, we can get the team total just below minus 150 to get over 2.5 with the Montreal Canadiens team total. I like it. I like them to win tonight. I like them early, but I like that team total at less than 3. They won 6-3 against Washington last year. Game 3, returning home to the Bell Center. And I think they're going to win, but this is a nice little security blanket in case they lose. But they could still score 3 goals in this game and lose. So I like this team total. I am going to lock that in for my best bet here. Montreal Canadiens team total over 2.5, minus 148. Best price available for my best bet here for this Friday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. These are 3 very intriguing games. All series tied at 1-1 tonight. Looking very much forward to seeing how they unfold. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, for David C., for Rob Shrimp, who joined us earlier, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll get on out of here before the lights close down on poor Alex there. We'll see you tomorrow, Saturday, noon Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.